Joining me now is the Daily Express Royal reporter Pandora Forsyth and News Corp columnist Angela Mollard. Ladies, stunning photos and footage from the Royal Christmas at Sandringham. Pandora, can you run us through the proceedings of the day?
Yeah, so everyone has all their eyes on the royals in the UK on Christmas Day in particular, with people queuing for hours to get a glimpse of them and perhaps hand, well, Catherine this year, flowers and chocolates to the children in Sandringham, which is on Sandringham Estate. It was particularly popular this year, as you noted, Caroline, at the start of the programme, about just what a year it's been for the royals and how it could have turned out so differently. So this year, the crowds really did come out to get a glimpse and perhaps have, a few messages of hope for them, which they certainly did. In fact, Catherine at the end there, as you can see in the footage, was actually caught up in so much conversation that William and the children were actually waiting for her to get down. So this happens at about 11 a.m. And then the pre-recorded King's Christmas speech happens at 3 p.m. But of course, this is a private time for the royals, away from the cameras. They will go back and they'll have a private lunch and celebrate the day. And of course, on Christmas Eve, they have that wonderful tradition of opening all their presents then. So it's a really special time for everybody in the UK, but I'm sure extremely poignant for the royals this year in particular.
And Angela, what was particularly notable for you about this Christmas and perhaps Princess Catherine, the way that she ended 2024?
Yeah, look, I thought there were a couple of messages in there. One, the number of people that offered notes to the princess. Clearly, people had sat down and written messages to her, and I noticed that. I thought that was very unusual. Usually you don't see that as much. So I think the public, as you mentioned, many of whom had waited overnight, really wanted to connect with her in a very genuine and personal way. I thought there was also tremendous unity, everything from the green that Camilla and the Princess of Wales were both wearing. That's no accident. Everything is designed. Everybody knows what everyone else is doing. And I thought that was super interesting because it showed a solidarity within the royal family about how hard they've been working. But I also think as this year came to a close, what I really took from it from 2024 was how the royal family navigated this crisis. It's an entirely different crisis to the Prince Harry crisis, and how they used both social media and legacy media to make their points, and particularly with social media, really owning their own story. Of course, there were a couple of hiccups when, of course, the photoshopping scandal earlier in the year with Kate. But at the end of the year, what I'm thinking is that they've really got their messaging sorted out. They really know what they're doing, and the use of social media, particularly to transmit the messages they want, is excellent.
I agree with that, and particularly that video that they did when they announced that Princess Catherine had finished her treatment. I thought that was an excellent use of a non-traditional platform, so to speak, to get that message across. Now, Pandora, I thought it was interesting to see Princess Beatrice join the family at Sandringham last minute. Is there anything more to this story than has been reported?
Yeah, so we don't know the details of why she got the medical sign-off. I'm sure we can put two and two together about the fact that she is evidently a few months pregnant and on medical advice, has been told not to travel. But of course, this does make things slightly awkward. It was all very happy faces, put on a good show for the Christmas Day walk-up. But from a personal perspective, I'm sure she found this quite difficult in many senses because she knows her father and mother weren't going to be there. And of course, that's so different from different years and how things have changed. And of course, her sister's not with with her there either, because she is with her in-laws, which was her original plan. She was there alongside her husband and, of course, his little son. And they made the most of what is an incredibly difficult situation with relations with Prince Andrew and the King at the moment. Of course, he took advice off Fergie not to go, which we've already mentioned on previous programmes. But I'm sure for her, it wasn't the day that she expected it to be. And when plans change, it's never ideal, is it? But of course, when all the world spotlight is on you, asking questions, it's particularly difficult, especially when it's your own family, it's your own father. And I'm sure she had to spend the day with various conversations and questions from the rest of the family about him, whilst he wasn't there, of course, to defend himself too. And this is all while she is heavily pregnant. So my heart does go out for her, because it is an incredibly difficult situation for her. And she just has to get on with it, very much like the late Queen's motto of never complain and never explain. And that's exactly what she did. The late Queen would have been very proud of her, I'm sure.
Yeah, I think she would have been. And Angela, very interesting piece in Tatler this week about the York sisters and their supporting role in 2024. It's been a very interesting year for them, and they've managed this excellent balance, in my view, of being in the thick of it while being slightly removed at the same time.
I agree completely with you, Caroline. To have two parents who are so historically undiplomatic, and that is a compliment. You know, you could say far worse things about them. Although Fergie has, of course, come into her own in the last couple of years as being a highly useful member of the royal family, or certainly adjacent to the royal family. What I love about this Tatler piece is it pulls out some of the things that Beatrice and Eugenie have done. Apart from their extraordinary diplomacy, if you think about it, Eugenie is trying to maintain that relationship with her cousin Harry while still being a member of the royal family. They both do a lot of charity work. They helped out, of course, at the garden parties in May, where, you know, you need more royals to go around shaking hands. I anticipate that we will see a lot more of them, as well as the Tyndalls. I think after this year, Prince William particularly will be looking at the royal family and saying, yes, my dad is wanting a slimmed down organisation, but what we do need is more people on the ground to be doing the handshaking, to do the events. And I think there'll be some taking stock behind the scenes with Catherine and William, particularly while their children are still so young, where they say, yes, I think we do need Beatrice and Eugenie to do this, and we do need Zara and Mike to do this. But there's one person who I think needs a Vogue cover and is not getting the attention she deserves, and that's the Duchess of Edinburgh. She turns 60 next month. She has been part of that family dedicatedly. I think she did 124 engagements this year, and she is not getting the love. I want to see her promoted. I want to see her on the cover of magazines, and I want her to be at the forefront of the royal family. After all, she is a working member of the family.